Hello, everyone out there. I am so excited to share with you that the new Cultivate Together growth community has officially launched. Registration is officially open. Doors are open for 1 week only. This special group, this unique group that I've been praying about and planning for some time, is finally available. However, registration is limited so that we have a small group probably to start with, a group that is going to grow with me as we grow together. Honestly, a lot of the things that are going to be part of the group are things that I don't know about yet. I've done the best that I can to plan in advance, but honestly, trying to plan kept me from making forward progress in bringing this to you. So we are launching today because that is the date that I set, and have the website prepared for you and a platform that's ready for us to use, and some exciting thoughts about what we're going to cover in this membership group. So, if you are somebody who has been looking for a way to really cultivate growth in your own life, this is the place. I've actually toyed with the idea of calling it Cultivate Together or Growing a Cultivated Life. And Growing a Cultivated Life, I've decided, is going to be the hub for all the things that I do. I've been using the tagline, A Cultivated Life. Really, it's about personal growth, emotional growth, relational growth, spiritual growth. How do we apply some really practical principles to cultivate and experience the life that God has given us? And when I mean life, I am talking about this sense of aliveness. That's a word that I got from Bob Hamp. If you're familiar with him, he does Think Differently and a lot of freedom ministry teachings. And this sense of aliveness that is, we're not just here functioning as beings on this earth. We are experiencing life because God designed us, because of his work in us, and because of just who he's designed us to be. When we're able to take steps that help us uncover who that person is and step into being that person, experiencing who God designed us to be in our lives, we experience more peace, more joy, and more freedom. We experience strength and courage in core aspects of our soul that help us to function well. That doesn't mean that everything is great and all of a sudden there's this magic answer, but that there is hope that we for the process that we are in. Cultivate Together is going to be a way to facilitate that process for you and give you an opportunity to really dive into your personal journey. Whether you're working with me or you already have like a therapist and a coach and you want to dive deeper into things that are starting to be revealed about yourself, about challenges that you faced, ways that you tend to react versus respond in different situations, this is going to be a place for growth, a space for healing, and I do want it to be, as much as humanly possible, a safe community for growth and healing. It'll be my job to help facilitate that, to facilitate how we engage with one another, how we engage with the content, to make it personal for ourselves, and then also to be able to be vulnerable, to learn how to make connections with people at a level that's not just, hi, I'm fine, how are you? Or here we have some fun activities together, but yeah, I heard that this happened. How is it affecting you? What is that like for you? Tell me more about your experience. I believe that God calls all of us to those spaces in each other's lives, not just therapists, not just coaches, but each of us as believers has an opportunity to do our own work and to meet others in the work that he's doing in their lives. We can't do that with everybody, but the goal in this group is to cultivate your personal journey of growth and to cultivate the connection with other people. Really, I talk about three primary pillars, which are part of this whole hub and idea of growing a cultivated life. They are these concepts of cultivating courage. So many of us are afraid to say what we need to say. We're Our thoughts block us from taking steps that we need to take. We immediately what's the right word? There's that critical voice, but contraindicate is something that I'm thinking that's more of a technical term, but we start to maybe think of something that could be positive or a positive way to think about ourselves or accepting the truth of how God sees us, for example. And immediately that critical voice jumps in and says, "Who are you to think that? Why do you think you deserve this?" Or "That's good for them, but not for you, because for some reason you stand out." Which we know, a lot of us know this in our heads. That isn't true. But the experience that we have deep in our hearts is something else. And I want to facilitate, some will be teachings, but some will also be actual engagements in the community and in our monthly group calls where we can experience something different that takes that head knowledge and brings it down to a heart place. Because the beliefs and the knowledge and experiences that we have that live here in this core place of our heart are like the gears, the motor, the direction that guides how we react in life, how we respond to other people. And so no matter how much we tell ourselves certain things, we have to have different experiences and we have to apply practical steps to experience something different down here. And that's what I hope to see in everyone who joins this community. So Cultivate Together is going to start with three primary ideas of what will be involved, but that could change. And so part of the being a founding member is that you get the lowest price ever. It is the lowest rate that I will have for it, period. You will get to keep that price for as long as you are a continuous member in the group. And kind of the trade off for getting this early rate, this introductory rate, is that there may be some kinks and some bugs and some things that we got to work through to make sure that it's all running smoothly. But you also get to have input, direct input in how this community shapes so that it is beneficial for you. So the three things that I have in mind for the group: monthly group calls, which can include some teaching content, maybe, or maybe review of teaching content that's been in the group already, um, question and answers time, and connection and fellowship with other people. One of the things that I have noticed as I have talked to so many different people is how alone we are, even before COVID. COVID accentuated all of that, but that aloneness is deep. It is down here at that heart level. And people who take these courageous steps to explore things that help them grow and become more of who God designed them to be, more using their gifts, more speaking what they need to say, more of someone who isn't deterred because of somebody else's comments or looks. The people that are taking those steps, I call those growth-minded individuals, and that's what I use in some of the language around the landing page for this and other things that I talk about. But people who are growth-minded have a hard time finding others who are growth-minded where they can really engage and support one another, because this is not easy work. And having a therapist is fantastic. It is something I highly recommend. Of course, I am a therapist, but it's something I recommend for everybody because there's just so much that we can't see for ourselves, and a therapist can help us actually, build new tools and resources and have different experiences. But community is something altogether different. Dr. John Townsend talks about a principle he calls relational nutrients. If you're not familiar with that concept, you can check out his website at relationalnutrients.com. And relational nutrients are the things that we get that, if you're thinking of this whole picture of cultivating, we're taking out bad things, we're putting good things in, we're nourishing our souls. And in relational nutrients are the things that we need for healthy souls, for healthy relationships, for healthy emotional life. But we can't get them outside of a relationship with another person. So sometimes we say, well, it's just me and God. Well, that's great, but we're forgetting that God works through other people, and we actually need what he does through other people. We need to receive what happens in the engagement with other people. And I know that can be really scary. That's why safe community is a big factor for me, that I will do my best to facilitate that in this community. And as a paid community, I think that will also help keep the group small enough that it is people who are really invested in doing this. Um, but the relational nutrients we also get in the exchange of interactions with one another. And sometimes we just need someone who can help us know what might be a little bit different way to go about responding in this situation, or a different way to say something, or what kind of words might I use when I'm scared to speak up at all. Someone who can help us identify new ideas and then have a place where we can practice them. So I'm not sure what all that is going to look like. um, Oh, sorry. So just a heads up, if you see this in Facebook or somewhere else, you might get a notification that says to allow whatever so that I could see your comments. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to know that you're here. And if you have any questions, please put that in the comment section. And if you think that this is interesting, if you would like to be part of a growth minded community like this, put a hands up, put a yes in the comment section so that I know that you're with me on this. Sometimes I feel really alone being someone who like gets ecstatic about growth, personal growth, and the growth I see in other people. When I have friends or even other people in my life that I see come through different seasons, and it doesn't matter if they're like struggling in that season, but I see that they're responding to something that God is revealing in their life. They're responding just to this growth aspect inside themselves. It's probably really goofy for everybody else, but I get giddy about it. It makes me super excited. So I look forward to meeting all of you in the group. So what is called? Okay, let me go back to what I was talking about. The three basic things that we're going to start off with for Cultivate Together. Again, as a founding member, you'll get to help me shape what I offer so that it's most helpful for you. Because I have my ideas, I have things that we can start with, but I want there to be organic growth that happens based off of what the community needs and is asking for. So here's what I think. We're going to start off with those monthly group calls that can have the Q&A and connection, and some regular teaching content. So I haven't decided what I can commit to just yet, and it will start in July because I'm moving the second week in July. So I'm giving myself a little grace for some of this content to show up. Whether every week it's going to be a new short teaching video, the majority of them I want to be short because I know that I can also share a lot of information, and it can be way too much to consume at one point or one time. So my goal for me to work on is also bringing you bite-sized um, teaching tips and concepts that will help you dive into your own journey. So like we might talk about boundaries, for example. What are they? How do we identify them? How do we implement them? What does it actually look like? Ways that people misunderstand boundaries. That might be a topic. We might talk about that guilt voice and the critical voice and what to do when that shows up. We might deal with grief. We might deal with fears of speaking up, or maybe reacting with a lot of anger, and that's kind of more of our go-to. Or maybe our reacting is hiding. There's different ways that we can react in different situations. So those might be some of the topics that we might talk about, and dealing with different emotions, for example. So there'd be some sort of regular teaching content, whether it's a video or a content in a post. And then I'm not sure if I'm going to do this separately as part of that weekly content, or if it's just going to be an add-on part of the videos and the weekly Q and or the monthly calls. But I want to provide regular prompts for using Unleash Heart and Soul Care Sheets. Here's why. This tool, if you're not familiar with it, it is a tool that helps you facilitate life's challenges, confusing situations, things that are coming up in our lives, things that we're questioning or wondering about, or even just practicing being in the presence of God. It's a very versatile tool, and it helps us slow things down a little bit, notice what's happening, notice our thoughts, notice what we're feeling, bring it before God, and practice hearing from God. And so, because it's such a versatile tool, it can also be a tool that seems great initially, but then gets left to the side because it can almost feel overwhelming. Like, what do I use it for? How do I use it? And when I do my personal coaching calls, one of the things that I love to do is recognize as we're doing work together, okay, here's a way that Unleash Sheets might help you. And I give them a question or a prompt that they can choose. Sometimes by the end of a coaching session, there's a few that you can choose from. Pick one prompt and say, okay, All right, I want to take some time to recognize, if the Spirit is bringing something up, the Holy Spirit reveals things to us, right? And it doesn't always feel good, and we need to pay attention to it to some degree. And so, Unleash Sheets can be a prompt for when something comes up. Um, okay, what is the pattern that I'm noticing in my life? What is it that's stirring up inside of me, and what's happening to me as it's being stirred up? What are my thoughts and my feelings as this is happening? And then bring it before God and asking God what He has to say about it. And so there's just different ways that I can provide prompts for you in using that tool. Now, Unleash Sheets is optional. You don't have to purchase it, but I do highly recommend it. You can also use a journal or something to kind of reflect on these questions. But what Unleash Sheets does is it offers you numerous feeling words to choose from. It gives you kind of a path, an idea of how you can engage with God in a process that just takes you deeper and draws more out. I can't tell you the number of times that I heard from others and even for myself in experiencing God just in powerful ways through that tool. So, this group is going to offer regular prompts for Unleash Sheets. And after that, I don't really, oh, actually, no, there was one other thing that is not a regular content that's coming in, but I'm going to be creating the core content, which will dive into something I'm super excited about. If you've ever heard of the book Changes That Heal by Dr. Henry Cloud, the concepts in that book, you're going to get more of an overview in this core content because it's based on what we called at my school the Townsend character model. See, I went to the Townsend Institute for Leadership and Counseling in Irvine, California. Dr. Townsend and Dr. Cloud co-wrote the Boundaries books, and they have worked on a character structure, um, this concept for many years. And Changes that Heal highlights that concept really, really well. Um, but it's something that we studied at the school too. And what's important to me, what's important to make sure that you guys hear and know is that when I say character, it's not about the next thing that you have to do. It's not about getting who you are right. Um, it's not about being the kind person or being integrity, having integrity, like all the things that I grew up learning about with regards to character was always how to be kind, to be giving, to be uh, thankful, to all the things that I was supposed to do and to get right. That is not what I mean when I say character. I am using the term character as Cloud and Townsend define it, which is, you might want to write this down. You can play this on repeat. I'll say it twice too. Character, as they define it, is the set of capacities needed to meet the demands of reality. Character is the set of capacities needed to meet the demands of reality. Now, I did a recent video on capacity. I may redo that to make it a little bit more crisp and clear and upload it to the group, which talks about how capacity makes a difference in our ability to function well. When we're really depleted, we just can't, we just don't function well. But in this sense, the capacities are, it's like this core structure of how we operate in this world, and inhibitors to that structure, inhibitors to the way that we, to the limitations on our capacity, um, keep us from showing up the way we're designed to show up, the way we want to, the way we would feel good about later. And so we're going to talk about what are those core, there's four core character, what are they called? Structures, and what's involved in there. But we're going to go into, that's going to be kind of a framework that will be woven in and out some of the content that I teach and talk about. So it's not the only content. So before I mentioned that the three pillars for growing a cultivated life as a whole includes courage. And I didn't finish that list, so sorry about that. Courage, character, as I just defined it, and connection. And when I talk about connection, um, I mean the connection that we have within ourselves, like even noticing what's happening inside of us, connecting to our bodies, to our minds, to our heart and our emotions, to our choices, and then connecting with one another. And there comes in the relational nutrients and identifying what keeps us from being able to give or receive those nutrients in relationship. So, connection with selves, connection with others, and connection with God. When we aren't connected to ourselves at all, we're usually in a state that prevents us from being connected to God. So, more on that in future topics. But again, my heart is to be your guide, your facilitator through a journey that helps you cultivate the courage, character, and connection you need for an emotionally and spiritually full life, a live life, like I was talking about before. I am super excited to join the founding members in the new group, which brings me to kind of one of the things that will be helpful to know is this is not a group on Facebook. I have specifically chosen a different platform for hosting the content and our community interactions because a lot of people on my email list are not on Facebook. And of course, Facebook limits different posts, and it does not feel as private or safe on Facebook as it would in a different community that is really set up just for us and only accessible through payment. That those are going to be some gateways to help increase safety in this community. So the platform that we're using is called Heartbeat. Heartbeat Chat. If you look up Heartbeat, it's going to be like all kinds of other things about hearts beating, but Heartbeat app or Heartbeat Chat, there is a mobile app for it, and you can also access it through a browser. So you can customize your settings and how many notifications or what types of notifications you want, how frequently you want notifications. I will post a link to our monthly group calls. It's a Google Calendar you guys can subscribe to, or you can just put the dates down on your calendar. Those will be listed in the community. Teaching videos will be in the community. The specific Zoom links for our monthly group calls will be in that community. And I'm not sure if this is accurate or not, but I might be able to go live in the community from Zoom. I've looked at a lot of different platforms, so that may not be the case for this one yet, but maybe it's coming. That would be really cool because then you're on there and it shows you that it's live right then and there, or like maybe get a notification on your phone to open up the app and join me for a live call. I do plan on recording the group calls. Sorry, I'm itching. Like I got bit up by mosquitoes crazy last night. They're just like, ugh. One or two must have snuck in and just loved eating on me all night. Anyway, so the group calls will include some coaching and Q&A, etc. And I'm going to record them for the sake of this community only. I know that I can't possibly pick a time that works for everyone. So I'm picking the time that I think is going to work best for me for now, and it could change. And I might alternate times every other month to make sure that people can join at least sometimes. Because if I pick a time that one person can't join ever, then that's pretty difficult and frustrating, right? Currently, that is Wednesdays at 2 to 4 Central Time. I'm about to be on the East Coast. No, I'm sorry, 1 to 3 Central Time, 2 to 4 Eastern Time, 1 to 3 Central Time. That's the current time frame. And actually, I just said 2 hours. It's actually an hour and a half. I block it off as 2 hours on my calendar just in case we go over, but it'll be an hour and a half. Apologize for my miscommunication on that. An hour and a half. I believe that's the first Wednesday of every month from 1 to 3 Central Time. So I'll have a calendar where you can just subscribe to the Google Calendar if you use that feature. Then it's super easy. And then the Zoom link will be right there. That way, when the event comes up, you get a notification on your calendar, you join the Zoom link, and voila, we're together. So I'm really looking forward to meeting you there and creating content that's going to be helpful for you. So we're going to start with teachings on the character structure model and some of the key concepts in there. And then what comes next? I don't know for sure yet. I've got lots of different ideas, but I want to go based off of what's most helpful for the people that are in the group. So, last thing, the founding member launch is only open for 1 week. It starts today on Monday, June 20th, and it is ending Sunday night, the 26th, June 26th. That is when registration closes. If it's a small group, it's a small group. If it's a bigger group, it's a bigger group. Whatever God brings, that's what we're going to go with. That is the founding group that's going to help shape the future of it and receive the lowest price, period. The lowest price that I will offer this group for is $27 a month, and it's being offered to the founding members, or $270 a year. And so, if you want in on that to keep that price, jump in now. And the website is joleneunderwood.com/cultivate together. I look forward to joining you in that community, growing with you as we move forward. If you have any questions, please send me a message, put a comment down below. If you want more information, just let me know. I'd be happy to answer whatever questions I can. And again, look forward to seeing you.